Ronald Wilson Reagan was born on February 6, 1911, in the small town of Tampico, Illinois, to John Edward Reagan and Nella Wilson Reagan. Reagan attended Dixon High School, where he played football, performed in school plays, and was a student body president. During the summer, Reagan worked as a lifeguard. He graduated from high school in 1928 and attended the liberal arts school Eureka College in Eureka, Illinois. There, Reagan majored in economics and sociology. He also played football, ran track, and was the captain of the swim team, acted in school plays, and served as the president of the student council. 5 years after graduating from college, Reagan signed a contract with Warner Brothers Movie Studio. He was in more than 50 films throughout his 30-year movie career.
You the doctor?
Yes?
We had an accident here.
Oh, bring him in. That's a bullet wound. Where'd you get that?
In 1940, Reagan married Jane Wyman, who was also an actress. They had a daughter and adopted a boy, but later divorced after 8 years of marriage. In 1952, Reagan remarried to Nancy Davis, with whom he had 2 more kids, Patricia and Ronald. He also served in World War II, but did not see any combat due to poor eyesight. He gained political popularity in 1964 when he gave an excellent speech for Republican presidential candidate Barry Goldwater.
The martyrs of history were not fools, and our honored dead who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance.
He became the governor of California 2 years later and won re-election in 1970. Reagan lost 2 presidential nominations in 1968 and 1976, but finally won nomination in 1980. Reagan won the presidency in a landslide over Democrat Jimmy Carter, winning 489 electoral votes over Carter's 49, and 43,901,812 popular votes over just 35,483,820 votes. Reagan entered office with a large agenda, and there were many problems that needed to be fixed. With support from Vice President George H.W. Bush, Reagan focused mostly on repairing the damage done on the economy before he entered office. His policy of fixing the economy was called Reaganomics. According to Reagan, an undue tax burden, excessive government regulation, and massive social spending programs hampered economic growth. He proposed a 30% tax cut that would be directed towards the upper income level, but Congress approved just 25%. This cut would allow the rich to spend and invest more money, stimulating the economy and creating new jobs. Congress also argued that these cuts would cost the government trillions of dollars, so Reagan was forced to get rid of some government programs. Reagan proposed a theory of giving economic benefit to the upper level income and businesses, which would in turn make its way to the poor class, called the trickle-down theory. Reagan also stressed the importance of the government serving its people. He strongly believed that because he was elected by the people, they were his boss, not the other way around. Reagan also made massive cuts on the amount of unnecessary paperwork for the government. Before he was elected to office, it took 7 weeks to get a Social Security card and 43 days if you wanted a passport. He reduced the amount of time to just 10 days to get either item. Reagan believed that it was his duty to protect the environment. He created a special unit in the Department of Justice that would prosecute criminal polluters. He was also the first president to address HIV and AIDS. This is the assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan after leaving a hotel in Washington, D.C. He was shot once in the side.
That doesn't make much sense, Henry. He puts you here and then he runs around with a big gun. President Reagan! Back up! Get him out! Get him out! Get him out! Down, back! Get him out! No! Get the ambulance!
Reagan's main goal in foreign affairs was to keep the Soviet Union from getting larger and stopping the spread of communism. He felt that the Soviet Union was taking advantage of the United States through Nixon's policy of detente. To make up for this, he spent millions of dollars on weapons research and military defense, because he believed that the only way we could achieve world peace was if our military was prepared. He deployed many nuclear missiles around the Western Hemisphere so the United States could achieve this goal. Reagan's most notorious defense program was the Strategic Defense Initiative, SDI, more commonly known for the Star Wars program. This program was designed to be able to destroy any incoming missiles that may be shot at the United States, but it failed miserably, and the SDI would cost around $1 trillion. Many Americans would protest the continuous building of nuclear arsenal, but Reagan ignored them. In 1985, Mikhail Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union and surprisingly began peace talks with the United States. By 1987, the USSR had agreed to withdraw most of the nuclear weapons and troops from the Soviet-controlled states in Eastern Europe. In return, Reagan agreed to abandon SDI and reduce the United States' overall nuclear arsenal, which eventually ended the Cold War.
General Secretary Gorbachev, if you seek peace, if you seek prosperity for the Soviet Union and Eastern Europe, if you seek liberalization, come here to this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, open this gate. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Another notable foreign affair Reagan was involved in was the Iran-Contra scandal. Israel was supposed to ship weapons to Iran, while the U.S. would resupply Israel in exchange for 7 American hostages being held in Israel. This essentially became an arms for hostages deal. Reagan would continue to send weapons to Israel because of the promise to return the hostages. There was a formal investigation into this event, and while Reagan admitted the sale of weapons to Israel, he denied that they were in exchange for hostages. In the end, the sale of weapons was not deemed a criminal offense.
In the 80s, there was Cold War drama. We fought the commies inside Nicaragua. Our friends were the Contras. Freedom was their mantra, so we sent them lots of money for guns and landmines. But Congress stopped the Contra money flow just 'cause they moved a teeny bit of blow. But then a hero came forth. His name was Oliver North. He and Reagan went around the sissy Congress. Ollie North, Ollie North. You see, North secretly sold missiles to a harmless country called Iran and would always be a grateful ally. Then he gave the profits to the Contras. Genius! But the sales were uncovered by the press. Reagan and North began to stress. 'Cause what they did was technically high treason. But it was totally justified.
Ronald Reagan was an absolute beast.
He was a simple man that made a difference for the world by fighting for what he believed in. The great communicator was able to charm millions of Americans with his grandfatherly-like demeanor. The 40th president was the oldest president in history and was undoubtedly amazing at his job. His leadership qualities and desire to do what's best for America set the stage for peace and the eventual collapse of the Soviet Union. Reagan's economic policies led to a massive tax reduction and record spell of economic peace. However, there was also a record increase in national debt, most of which was due to the military spending. Reagan's landslide victory in the presidential election made it clear that the Democrats would not return to the White House for a while. All in all, Reagan was an outstanding public speaker who was committed to the United States and its people.